There was a ton of information thrown at us during yesterday's Nintendo Direct, a lot of which left Nintendo fans up in arms. So here's everything that you need to know before you pre-order your Nintendo Switch 2. So the Nintendo Switch 2 is set to release June 5th of 2025, so just a couple of months away. And during the Direct, they made sure to emphasize the fact that this is a huge upgrade from the previous generation of Nintendo Switches, with this console having a 7.9-inch wide LCD screen that does go up to 1080p. Now, to my knowledge, that is actually a higher resolution than the Steam Deck, which only goes up to 720p. Granted, it is an LCD screen, which means that there probably will be an OLED version that comes out later on at a higher price point, which we will cover the price point after we go through some of the technical specs. The screen will also have HDR10 support and a refresh rate up to 120 Hz. You'll also be getting 256 gigabytes of storage that's baked into the system, but some of the biggest upgrades come to how your games are going to look when you dock your Switch and use a TV or a monitor to play your games. With this console giving us 4K resolution at 60 FPS, at least for TVs. Which, once again, that's kind of crazy for us to get 4K resolution from a little handheld device. They are also finally bringing back a microphone for their handhelds, which we first saw in the Nintendo DS, which works hand in hand with their new C button that they made sure to constantly remind us was a brand new feature for the Switch 2. So you'll now be able to chat with your friends as you play games online. However, the catch is that you will need a Nintendo Online account in order to actually use the chat feature. So if you don't have a Nintendo Online account, the button literally doesn't work, which I heard some people saying that the button literally stands for credit card, because you will have to put your credit card into your Nintendo Online account so that you can use the button. You'll also be getting 2 USB-C ports, one of which you will be able to plug a webcam into, which they are also offering a webcam for separate purchase. However, you are able to plug in whatever webcam you want as long as it uses USB-C. So if you already have one, you don't really need to purchase the Nintendo one. You're welcome. I just saved you $50 if you already have one, or you can get one off of Amazon for like $30. You will also be getting a 3.5mm audio jack, a battery life of 2 to 6.5 hours. I imagine it depends on what type of game you're playing, and a charging time of 3 hours while the system is in sleep mode. You will have to invest in a new SD card, however, if you are going to purchase the Nintendo Switch 2, as they will be changing to micro SD express cards only. So your current SD card that you probably have in your current Nintendo Switch will not be compatible with the Switch 2. They have also improved the dock for this system, giving it a fan so that your Switch can run better and more efficiently without overheating. And in addition to the new C button on your Joy-Cons, you'll also be able to use them as a mouse now. They also did add magnets in order for you to attach your Joy-Cons to the actual console, which means hopefully you will no longer have to deal with any stick drift, as they are saying goodbye to the old rail system. But so clearly they did put a lot of time and effort into improving the previous generation of Switches. And with all of these improvements, of course, comes an increase in price, with the base console having a price tag of $449.99, so $450. However, they do also offer a bundle, which allows you to get a digital copy of Mario Kart World included with your Switch, which will run you $500. However, one thing that I think is really cool that they're doing is that if you are pre-ordering through the actual Nintendo website, they have put in anti-scalping measures. And these anti-scalping measures are intense. It says here that the pre-orders on the Nintendo website will be open to those that have purchased a Nintendo Switch Online membership with a minimum of 12 months of paid membership and a minimum of 50 total gameplay hours as of yesterday, April 2nd, 2025. So unless a scalper has had a Nintendo Online account for at least a year and has played 50 hours of gameplay on their own Nintendo Switch as of yesterday, they will not be able to pre-order through the Nintendo website. And even if they meet those requirements, they are only letting you buy one console per Nintendo Online account. So they could possibly buy one for themselves, but they wouldn't be able to buy the entire stock. They do also mention that the invitations are going to be delivered on a first-come, first-served basis to everybody that is eligible to pre-order, and you'll have 72 hours from the time that you receive the email to actually complete your purchase. And it looks like the first batch of invitations is going to be going out on May 8th, 2025, so a month from now. But honestly, I think this is really smart of them to avoid any of the issues that past console releases have had, like the Xbox or the PS5, where all of the scalpers and bots were able to buy up all the stock before anybody was able to get their hands on them and had to pay ridiculous aftermarket prices or wait months and months and months and months for them to come back in stock in stores. Now, when it comes to the two options for you to purchase either just the base console or the console with Mario Kart World included, I think there is a larger incentive to buy the bundle. Clearly, I only registered to purchase the base console, but that's just because I'm not the biggest Mario Kart fan in the world. I do enjoy the game, however, I'm not trying to play it on release day. But if you are trying to play it on release day, I think that the bundle would probably be the best route to take, simply because if you get the game and console bundle, you're only paying $50 for Mario Kart World, whereas everybody else will have to pay $80 MSRP. Now, I know there was rumors kind of floating around saying that the physical copy was going to be $90. However, I haven't been able to find a source of this rumor, nor have I been able to find any prices that differ from the $79.99 MSRP, basically anywhere on the internet. Which I know that this was a huge thing since most people were pretty okay with the Nintendo Switch 2 being more expensive than the previous generation, since not only do they have to take into account like inflation, but also the fact that they have heavily upgraded the previous system as well. So $450 in my opinion is fair. However, $90 for a game was a bit of a jump scare, so I am hoping that that is just a rumor, especially considering that it looks like things like Donkey Kong are going to be $69.99 MSRP, and this is definitely more in line with what other games will cost on, say, like the PS5 or the Xbox. And we technically already saw this type of pricing when it did come to the Legend of Zelda games. So with that and other games kind of setting the precedent, I think that a $70 MSRP for majority of games was kind of inevitable, and is just kind of a sign of the times and something that we do have to accept is going to happen. However, if there is going to be a price difference between the digital copies of games and the physical copies of games, like the rumors are kind of insinuating, with the digital copy of Mario Kart World being $80 and the physical copy being $90, it does kind of seem like Nintendo is trying to make a push for more of their games to be digital, kind of like the other consoles that are currently on the market, which definitely comes as a shock considering that up until this point, most of their games have been physical, with a couple of the larger games of course having key cards since the games are too big to actually fit on the cartridge. Which does actually bring me into my next point, is that a lot of people were up in arms over the fact that they thought that all of the cartridges were actually going to be game key cards, which is incorrect. Only some of the games are going to be key cards, which, like I mentioned, are going to be those games that are too big to actually fit on the cartridge, or basically never had a physical game, like Fortnite. But with this current generation of Switch, you're able to run things like Elden Ring, which is a huge game that I highly doubt would be able to fit on a tiny cartridge. And these specific cartridges that are going to be game keys rather than have the actual physical game on the cartridge are going to be very clearly labeled as a game key on the front of the actual box of the game. So unless your cartridge has this gigantic game key card with the QR code on the front, it will have the physical game on the actual cartridge. But kind of going back to what I was saying, it does kind of seem like they are trying to make a push towards more of their games becoming digital, especially when we look at the Nintendo Switch 2 plus Mario Kart World bundle, which comes with a digital download of the game. And like I mentioned, if you do get this bundle, your game is only going to cost $50 versus the MSRP of $80. Which kind of leads me to believe that maybe the $80 is going to be a set price for the actual physical game versus like the digital game. Perhaps the digital game will be more in that $70 range, since they are giving you a digital copy of the game with the bundle for $50. But obviously, we're kind of just working with the information that we currently have available to us. And hopefully for the $80 price tag that they are putting on the new Mario Kart game, that'll include any extra content like DLC, because otherwise that is a pretty hefty price for a Mario Kart game. But in addition to us getting new games, you will also be able to upgrade your old games from the current generation of Switches so that they can run better and include more content on the Switch too. And now, while this seemed like a good thing up front, a lot of people were upset when they found out that a lot of these are going to be upcharges in order for you to actually improve the performance and add content to your old games on the Nintendo Switch 2. Which realistically, if they are adding new content to the games, it does make sense that there would be a small upcharge. With Mario Party Jamboree and Jamboree TV adding new modes, improving the graphics of the game, the Zelda games getting an entire app to work in support with the games, as well as improved frame rates and resolutions, faster load times, HDR support, Kirby getting a brand new story and enhanced frame rates, Pokemon Legends ZA, which is set to release later this year, getting improved graphics and performance, and Metroid getting support for you to use the mouse feature on the Joy-Cons, and enhanced resolution and load times. So you are getting extra content and improvements for a small upcharge. However, one thing that wasn't mentioned that I feel like a lot of people should be aware of is that you don't have to actually pay for these upgrades if you have a Nintendo Online account, which oddly enough was tweeted out by Nintendo of Europe, which was included in this little teaser trailer that they added to their tweet, where they show the Zelda games and that you're able to upgrade them with little upgrade packs that you can buy. And then they have this little note right here that says that the upgrades will be available with the Nintendo Switch Online expansion pack membership for those who already own the Nintendo Switch versions. So if you already have these games and you have a Nintendo Switch Online account, you'll actually get all of these improvements and extra content, not for free per se, since you are paying for the online account, but you won't have to make that extra purchase of going to a store or the online store and paying for these extra features. They're already included in your account. So overall, I think everything that was shown during the Nintendo Direct is a net positive. However, of course, it is up to you to decide if this is something that's worth it, since, like I mentioned, there is an increased price tag and you will have to possibly pay for extra features. Couple that with all of the add-ons that you can also purchase separately from the actual console, like the webcam, Joy-Cons, carrying cases, etc., which are of course always an extra fee, and you could start racking up the price. However, I did see somebody do the math and say that if you were to purchase all of the accessories, it would still be less than some of the current consoles out there. But like I said, it is up to you and what you're comfortable with at the end of the day. I don't work for Nintendo. I'm not trying to sway anybody's opinion. I am simply a Nintendo fan. Obviously, all of my content revolves around Nintendo games, but ultimately I'm just here to help you make an informed decision. So hopefully you found this video helpful. And if you did find this video helpful, I highly suggest that you consider subscribing so that I can continue to make content for you guys. And if you are already subscribed and you would like another way to support the channel, feel free to check out the merch store. There is a link down below in the description that takes you to not only my merch store, but also all of my other socials so you can keep up with what I'm doing on a daily basis. But thank you all so much for watching, and of course, per usual, feel free to leave all of your thoughts and comments down below. I would love to hear and have a discussion with everyone, but I love you all and I will see you in the next video. Bye guys.